Little King.
Today's story takes place in the lovely state of Oregon, a state with pine-covered mountains that in winter are frosted with snow, with clear streams that tumble over rocky boulders. It's a state with lumber mills, woolen mills, and paper mills, rodeos and ranches. And it is on a ranch called the Circle S that my story begins. The Circle S ranch belongs to Big Jim and his wife, Vi. It was here that Little King came to live. Now, Big Jim's birthday was a very special day for Vi, and the gift that she would give him had to be extra special. On the top shelf of the corner china closet stood a lovely teapot, hand-painted with roses. All through the year, any extra change or cash left over from her household money was put into the old china teapot. This money was used only for extra special things, like Big Jim's birthday.
75, 1, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20. I wonder what I could get for Jim's birthday that he would really like. Let's see. He's mentioned how nice it would be to have a dog around the ranch. 26, 30, 34. $34.80. A big man like Jim should have a big dog. Maybe a collie or a German shepherd. Well, $34.80 certainly won't buy one of those. I wonder how much the Youngs are asking for one of their fox terriers. I hardly think a little dog would be the answer, but would it do no harm to drive by and look them over?
When Vi saw the litter of puppies, she fell in love with the little black and white one that had a funny black patch over one eye.
Oh, look at that one. Oh, aren't his markings beautiful? That black patch over one eye. Yes, I was talking about you, little fellow. My, he's bright and active.
Oh, you're very observing, Vi. He's been the most aggressive one of the litter, right from birth. Oh, you made a good choice.
Oh, he'd be a perfect gift for Jim.
Well, he's an awfully small dog for such a big guy as your Jim. Well, wouldn't Jim rather have a large dog that would be more help around the ranch?
Oh, I really think Jim will like this little terrier just as well. I have a problem, though. I only managed to save about $35, and I'm sure you're getting more than that for these pups.
Well, it's true they're pedigreed and have a distinguished ancestry, but I'd be happy to just give you one. Your Jim helped out so much when my Bill was hurt in that lumber accident last winter. I don't know what we'd have done if it hadn't been for Jim. Oh, please, let me just give you one.
Oh, no. Jim was happy to help out. That's what neighbors are for. Besides, this is my birthday gift for him. I want to buy the pup. Now, please accept my $34.80.
Well, I can understand that you want to buy the dog since it is a gift for Jim, but $25 is all I'll take for him.
But as you said, this one is the choice of the litter. I can't do that.
Oh, yes, you can, and you will. No more arguing.
All right, it's a deal, and I really appreciate your generosity. I don't want the puppy until the day before.
So all the arrangements were made. The little dog would be delivered to the ranch the day before Jim's birthday. When he arrived, Vi smuggled him into the bunkhouse. Very, very early the next morning, Bill, the foreman, brought the pup to the main house.
Thanks so much, Bill. Oh, I do so want Jim to be surprised.
Big Jim up yet?
Oh, no, that's why I'm up so early. We'll let this little fellow be his alarm clock this morning. Oh, will Jim be surprised? He's been talking about getting a dog for a long time, but I'm sure he won't be expecting one for his birthday.
Very quietly, Vi opened the bedroom door, tiptoed across the room, and placed the little pup on the bed. He cocked his head quizzically, looking at the big man. Then, with his little short tail in perpetual motion, he made his way up the patchwork quilt. When he reached the man's face, he paused, but only for one wag of his tail, put out his little pink tongue, and licked Big Jim's cheek.
What's this?
Happy birthday, Jim.
Oh, what a cute little fella. Hey, where'd you come from, little guy? I've been needing a little dog around here. Say, what a great gift. Oh, thank you, hon. You must have got him from the Youngs, right? But how'd you get him here at this hour of the morning?
Oh, that's a deep, dark secret. Seriously, though, would you rather have had a larger dog, Jim? Maybe a collie?
Oh, he may be little, Vi, but I'll bet he has a lion's heart.
You really like him, Jim?
I like him. Look at that face, Vi. He's an intelligent little guy. He'll learn very quickly.
Doesn't he have a comical air with that black patch over one eye? Such a funny little face.
Comical? Oh, why, he looks like an aristocrat. Looks like he should be wearing a black silk top hat or maybe a crown. How do you do, Little King? Hey, you like that name, don't you? Well, so do I. Little King you'll be.
And Little King he was from then on. Now some friendships grow slowly, while others are instantaneous, like turning on a lamp. The friendship between Little King and Big Jim began just that way. He would follow his master all over the ranch, never letting him out of his sight. When he grew weary, Big Jim would tuck him under his arm, and off they would go on horseback. Every day, some time was spent in teaching Little King how to heel, sit, and to obey all his commands. Jim was kind and patient, but firm.
Sit, King boy. Sit. No. Sit, King. Sit. Attaboy. Good fella.
He does learn very quickly, Jim. You're a good teacher.
Well, you know, Vi, dogs and humans are quite alike.
Well, how's that?
Neither dogs nor people are much good unless they learn to obey rules and become useful in society. We all should contribute to this life in one way or another. And as you know, there really isn't any freedom without rules.
You're right about that, Jim. And those who break rules make themselves and those around them unhappy.
Yeah, and like people, dogs like to be useful, too. They feel good when they successfully accomplish a task we've given them to do.
Now there was one ritual Little King especially enjoyed. Every evening, when he and his master returned to the ranch house.
Hi. Oh, boy, am I stuck. We worked hard today.
Hi. Supper will be ready in a minute. Can't let you starve.
I bet this little guy is hungry, too. All right, King. While I kick off these boots, you go fetch my slippers, huh?
Look at him go.
Through the house and up the stairs scampered the little dog. He was never too tired for this. From under Big Jim's bed, he retrieved one large slipper. Soon Vi and Jim would hear a thumpity-thump as the little dog would drag the slipper down the stairs. For when you have a size 13 shoe and one little fox terrier, there's almost more shoe than dog.
Hey, attaboy. Good fella. Give me the slipper. You're a good boy. Those slippers are almost too much for you, but you sure like to fetch them.
Oh, he surely does. He acts so ferocious, you'd think he'd caught a rabbit.
All right, King. Fetch the other one.
Time passed, and even though Little King was no longer a pup, he never grew to be a very large dog. But though small of size, he was obedient and devoted to his master. Then one summer day, someone else came to live at the Circle S Ranch.
Sure going to be great having you back at the ranch, Vi. Seems like you've been gone longer than a week. Besides, I certainly wasn't able to get very well acquainted with my new daughter at the hospital. Not by looking at her through a window.
Well, I think you have a few years in which you'll get very well acquainted with her. And I'm glad you missed me. Or was it my cooking you missed?
Oh, well.
How do you think King will like baby Lisa? You know, he's had all our attention since he was a pup. Sometimes pets are jealous when a baby arrives in the family. Do you suppose King will be?
King? Jealous? Never. Why, you just wait and see. He'll adore the baby. Probably think she belongs to him.
Well, we'll soon know. We're just about home.
Careful now, honey. There we go. Now give me that beautiful daughter of mine. Here comes King, and you watch this. Hey boy, come see what I got. King, this is baby Lisa. That's right, boy. You gotta help us take care of little Lisa.
Look at him wag his tail. He certainly seems to understand you, Jim.
Of course he does. He's one great little dog.
Jim was right. Little King did understand. When baby Lisa slept, he would station himself right beside her bassinet, like an honor guard.
Jeannie, come in.
I just couldn't wait any longer to see that new baby.
Oh, I'm glad you came. King hasn't come downstairs yet, so Lisa is still sleeping. Well, she'll be waking up any time, though. Let's go up and see her.
Sounds like you have a good babysitter.
Oh, you can say that again. When Lisa's sleeping, King sleeps right beside her crib. The minute she wakes up, he comes bounding down the stairs to the kitchen or wherever I'm working.
Oh, that's cute.
And that's not all. At first, he waits quite patiently for me to come back to the nursery with him, but not for long. He gives me about 30 seconds, and then he runs back and forth, barking, most impatient with me. He doesn't want me to keep Lisa waiting.
He really thinks Lisa belongs to him, doesn't he?
And that's exactly what Jim said King would think. Well, here's Lisa's room. King, it's all right. Quiet now. Jeannie just came to see the baby. She won't hurt your Lisa.
He really is serious about protecting her, isn't he? You won't have to worry about Lisa with him around.
No, I certainly won't. Oh, Lisa's just waking up now. How's Mommy, sweet little girl? Did you have a good nap? Oh, I bet you're a hungry baby.
Oh, Vi, she's just darling. Look at that dark hair. Is she sleeping?
Yes, King was devoted to baby Lisa. He seemed to understand that she was small and helpless, and decided to be her protector. Then one day in early autumn...
Before bad weather sets in, I'm going to do some work up at the north cabin.
Yes, I suppose it's getting that time of year again. Oh, I always dread your having to go up there. How long will you have to be away?
Well, it will take me about a day to get up there. You know, most of the trail is impassable, except on foot.
I know. But how long will you have to work up there?
Oh, probably will take 2 or 3 days. I want to set in a good supply of wood at the cabin and check the spring source.
But, Jim, why can't you take one of the men with you? I really would feel so much better if you did.
Now, Vi, you know there's too much work right here. I can't spare one of them. Besides, I don't really need to have any help up there. I can handle it easily.
And it's just that I worry and...
Oh, now aren't you being a silly little wife? Don't you think a big guy like me can take care of himself?
Well, this is wild country. It just doesn't make sense to take any chances.
You don't have to worry, hon. No animal would attack a man during daylight.
Anyway, I'll be glad when you're safely home. Will you take little King with you?
Oh, of course. You know I wouldn't go without him. And that is, if you and Lisa can get along without him.
Well, we'll try. Seriously, though, I sometimes think you should have a larger dog. One that would...
Oh, King's a fine little watchdog. He may be small, but remember, he has a lion's heart. Isn't that right, boy?
Very early the next morning, before the sun woke the clouds that slept lazily on the tops of the mountain pines, Big Jim and King were on their way. In Jim's shoulder pack was plenty of dried venison and other supplies to last them both. The hours passed quickly for Big Jim and Little King. While Jim worked, the dog chased after squirrels and chipmunks and had the time of his life.
Well, Little King, this morning we start for home. We should make the ranch by nightfall. I bet baby Lisa will be glad to see you, and Vi will have a special supper for both of us. I think we're both getting tired of this venison. I bet the squirrels and chipmunks up here will be glad to see you leave. You've been giving them a hard time these last few days. Yeah, come on, boy. Let's get going.
By noon, Big Jim and Little King reached a lovely grassy sloping bank in a grove of pines by the river's edge. It was a perfect place to rest and have their lunch.
Yeah, here's a great place to eat our lunch, King. All this walking makes a man hungry. And weary. A little shade there, too. This noon sun still is awfully warm. I'm thirsty. I bet you are, too. Some food will make us both feel better. We still have a long walk ahead of us. Yeah, let's go, fella. Hey? Come on, boy. What you getting so excited about? Come, King.
The little dog remained fixed to the trail. Never before had he ignored his master's command. Never had Little King disobeyed. Now his body quivered nervously. The little black tail that was usually wagging now was motionless. Ears pointing straight up, a low growl coming from his throat. King looked intensely down the trail.
What's the matter with you, King? There's nothing down that trail. You must have chased too many squirrels up at the cabin. Now, calm down, fella. I'm tired and hungry, even if you aren't. And that's just enough of this nonsense. Come on, King. Come on! King! That's more like it. Now, come along with me to the river, and I'll get you food and water. Then maybe you'll forget whatever's bugging you. This is no time to play. We haven't long to rest here.
But little King was not interested in food, even refusing a drink of water. Instead, he laid very still on the grassy bank, his gaze fixed on the rock ledge ahead on the trail. Perplexed at little King's behavior, Big Jim ate his lunch in silence. Then he repacked the remaining supplies in his shoulder pack, slipped it on his back, and without a word to King, headed back towards the trail that led home. The dog lay still and tense in the grass. But as Big Jim reached the trail, little King dashed after him. Excitedly, he ran in circles about the tall man's legs, frantically nipping at Jim's trousers.
Stop that stupid dog! What in the world's come over you? We have a long walk ahead of us. Now, stop that!
Exasperated, Big Jim hurried on. As he came nearer the overhanging rock, King made even more frantic efforts to stop his master. All at once, Big Jim staggered and fell downward from the impact of a large cougar. A searing pain spread across his shoulders. Rolling over, he pulled himself together and scrambled to his feet, fully expecting to again be attacked. But to his utter amazement, the young cougar was now running toward the woods, and from his clenched jaws, hanging limp and motionless, was little King.
Oh, no, he's got little King. Oh, stupid I've been. He wasn't disobeying me. He was trying to protect me, and I wouldn't let him.
For a moment, Big Jim stood dazed and helpless as he watched the big cat disappearing into the underbrush.
Oh, poor little King. Oh, how I'll miss him. He did have a lion's heart, and I was so unkind. I'll never forgive myself. Oh, I'm going to get down to the river and wash out this wound. Stop the bleeding.
From his position at the river, Big Jim could now see the ledge where the young cougar must have crouched. What had made him attack the man in daylight? Was it the scent of the deer meat in Jim's shoulder pack? Was it the excited barking of the little dog? Who could say? Now his loyal little friend was gone. Slowly, painfully, Big Jim made his way home, with each step mourning the loss of his little dog. How he wished for an opportunity to right his wrong, to make up for his impatience.
Understand what was getting little King so distraught. It wasn't like him to disobey me. I looked around several times. Of course, I didn't see anything.
You couldn't see the cougar up there on that rock ledge?
No, not until you get just beyond the ledge, and then the top is visible.
Of course, King smelled the cougar long before you could see it. He could sense the danger that lay ahead.
Oh, poor little old brave dog. I certainly will miss him. He was so loyal to all of us. He adored baby Lisa.
Did you try to track the cougar? Maybe you could have rescued little King.
No, I didn't. With my wounded shoulder, without a gun, well, just wouldn't have been any use.
Little King would have made about one good bite for that cougar. Makes me shudder to think about it.
I suppose you're right. But don't you think I should take some of the men and try to track that cougar? If he's attacked a man once, he...
No, I'm afraid in that rough country it'd be almost impossible to track him. I suspect the reason he attacked was scent from the venison in my shoulder pack. He was a young cougar and probably hungry.
Possibly little King's barking excited the cougar.
Yeah, could be. I guess we'll never know.
Poor little fellow. He truly did have a lion's heart.
Yes, Big Jim and little King did have a beautiful friendship. But that's not the end of my story. A few days later, Big Jim was sitting on the porch of the ranch house, watching the sun disappear behind the mountains. His shoulder was feeling much better, but he still was grieving for his little dog. The Circle S would never be the same without little King.
I guess I'll never stop missing King. He was part of the family. That sounds like a dog barking. Like little... I must be hearing things. Oh, no. No, I must be hearing things. It couldn't be. It sounds just like King's bark. Va? Va! Come here, quick!
What is it, Jim? What's wrong?
Va, listen. That's little King's bark. Across the field there, look.
Where? We can't be. We just can't be.
Over there, look. Look, it is little King. Here, boy, here, come here, fella. Here. Come here, old boy. Good little old King, good fella. How did you ever get away from that cougar?
I can't believe it. I just can't believe it's true. We've got our little King back.
Oh, look at these bad scratches. Oh, there's a rather deep wound. Come on, let's take him in the house and clean out these wounds.
Yes. And he's going to have an extra special supper, too. Oh, somehow you outsmarted that cougar, you brave little fella.
Isn't this just great? I can't believe we have him back.
That night, little King was back at his post, sleeping beside baby Lisa's bed. And with loving care from Jim and Vi, it wasn't long until he had recovered from his almost fatal encounter with the cougar. How had he escaped? No one ever knew for sure. But you can be certain that little King was the talk of the valley for quite a while. He received so much praise and attention that Big Jim was sure he would be spoiled. Little King lived a long and uneventful life after his ordeal with the cougar. He and Lisa became great pals and spent many happy hours together. And you can be sure that Big Jim never forgot his loyal friend. For little King truly did have a lion's heart.
Pete and the Pumpkin Patch.
All right, girls and boys. Now, we have just 5 minutes before bus time. Check around your desks and make sure there isn't any scrap paper on the floor. Also, I'll check the desks tonight to make sure yours is neat and clean. Now, Kevin, will you erase the board? Sally, you water the plants, please. Remember that Friday afternoon we'll have the Halloween party. Now, let's keep it quiet so you can hear what I have to say. This year we'll have a pumpkin carving contest. Each of you must provide your own pumpkin. You should have it here by Friday morning. We'll have judges, and there'll be a prize for the 3 best pumpkins. Our room mothers will bring refreshments. Now, if you're ready to leave, stand quietly by your desk. Don't forget to take your math home if you didn't finish today's assignment. Now, all of you need to study your spelling words tonight. Row 1, you line up by the door.
Pete, wait up for me. Hey, man, where are we going to get some pumpkins? I don't know. Suppose we can get one at Bailey's Fruit Market. They always have a good selection. That's no good. I stopped there yesterday. All the nice big ones are awful expensive. Well, you get an allowance, don't you? Sure, man, but who wants to bust up allowance money to buy a pumpkin? Besides, I'm trying to save up for a new football. Yeah, I know what you mean. I've almost got enough saved for a football uniform. Man, aren't you lucky? That takes a lot of dough. Sure, it'd be more fun if we could get a pumpkin for nothing. For nothing? How can we do that? Rip it off. How else? Rip it off? Oh, wow, Scott. I've never ripped anything off in my life. Oh, don't be a chicken. It's just an old pumpkin. It's not like taking something important. Well, stealing is stealing, no matter what name you give it or what you take. Well, if you're too good to go with us, then don't. Us? Yeah, I already talked to Larry. He thinks it's a great idea. He's going to meet me there at 8 o'clock tonight. Meet you where? At Old Man Jackson's place down there on River Road. He's got a nice field of pumpkins just waiting to be picked. Think it over, man. It ought to be a blast. We'll meet at the big oak tree this side of the pumpkin patch. Well, I don't know. I'll have to think about it.
Getting a pumpkin free would be great. But what would Mom think about Scott's idea? Well, he knew what she would think, all right. If he ripped off a pumpkin, he'd have to be sure she didn't find out either. That night at the supper table.
There's a letter on the hall table from Ann and Ken. She says he likes his new job very much.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'll have to read the letter after supper.
Does she think they'll be able to come home for the holidays?
No, she's not sure yet, but they're hoping to. Have some more casserole. Looks like your place is almost empty. Can't have that.
Oh, well, there's not much chance of an empty plate around here. Hey, Pete, aren't you ready for seconds yet? What's wrong with that appetite tonight? You're usually through with seconds by now.
You're not coming down with something, are you, son?
I'm okay, Mom. Really. Just not very hungry tonight.
You've been so quiet since you came home from school. Are you sure you're all right? Let me feel your forehead. Doesn't feel hot.
Did something happen at school today, son?
Oh, no, Dad. Really, everything's fine. I'm just not hungry tonight.
There's blueberry pie for dessert, your favorite.
Maybe later. I'm too full now. May I be excused, Mom?
What's the rush, son?
Oh, Scott wants me to come over and work out some football plays tonight.
All right, but let's not get home too late. By 9 o'clock at least.
Sure, Mom.
Sure, have a good time, son. But remember what your mother said. No later than 9 o'clock.
Okay, Dad.
What do you suppose is the matter with him? You know he's always starving.
Oh, I wouldn't worry. It's football season. He's probably just anxious to get to Scott's.
As Pete walked past the houses on his street, he felt that behind every window someone was watching him. With every step, there seemed to be a voice saying, "Thief, thief, thief." But the further he went, the quieter the voice became. When he reached the corner, he dashed across the street and into an open field. Running through the tall grass, he soon came to the river road that led to the Jackson place.
Scott. Hey, Scott. Where are you? Shh. Right here, man. Glad you're here. Thought you maybe wouldn't come. Hi, Pete. Hi, Larry. How'd you get out of your house? Oh, my mom doesn't even ask where I'm going. She doesn't even care just as long as I stay out of her way. Mine either. The less she sees me, the better she likes it. Well, I don't think it's funny. I don't feel very good about it. My folks wouldn't like this idea at all. Aw, Pete, you take everything too seriously. Hey, guys, where are the pumpkins? Right behind the back porch. There's a whole field full just waiting for us. Wow. You mean we have to go that close to the house? Oh, it's easy. We can stay in the tall grass along the roadside all the way. Then along their lawn are all those big trees. We can sneak from one to the other. That will still bring us too close to the back porch. I don't know if I like that. Well, the house is all dark. They're probably not even at home. Old man Jackson is so stingy, he's probably trying not to waste electricity. Shh! We're wasting time. Let's go. Pete, you go first. Keep low in the grass and head for the first big maple. And don't go any further till we all get there. Okay, now one at a time from tree to tree. Wait! Hey, wait! I think there's someone on the porch. Sounds like a rocking chair. No, porch swing. Aw, come on. It's all right. Just be careful. We made it. There is someone on the porch. It's Mr. Jackson. He's talking to someone. Let's crawl over behind the lilac bush and see if we can hear what he's saying. Be quiet. If he hears us, we've had it.
I just don't know how we're going to make it, Lord. Ma's been sick for so long. She didn't get any food put up this summer. I just didn't have the heart to tell her tonight that the pantry's almost empty. The drought this summer took most our garden, excepting the pumpkins. Seems our pension doesn't ever reach through the month. Oh, forgive me for complaining, Lord, but everything I tried just seems not to work out.
He was praying. Did you hear that? Almost no food in the house. Let's go back to the road. We've got to talk. Okay, let's go. Hey, fellas, we should be ashamed of ourselves. Those poor old people. Not enough food, not much money, and we were going to steal pumpkins from them. Yeah, we were being stupid, all right. Some old people have it pretty rough, I guess. Suppose so. I thought it'd be so cool to get a free pumpkin. Somehow, after hearing that old man pray, it just doesn't seem any fun at all. I guess we better head for home. Yeah, we'll just have to fork out the money and buy our pumpkins. Wait a minute. You mean we're just going to forget about the Jacksons just like that? Well, we're just kids. What can we do? First of all, we're going to tell our folks all about tonight. You've got to be kidding, man. I'll say. No, I'm not kidding. If we're going to do the right thing, then we've got to go all the way, not just halfway. Wow. Suppose you're right again. Then tomorrow we're going to talk to Mr. Rogers. We've got to tell him about this, too? Why? Because we're going to need his help, plus the help of all the kids in our class. Help? For what? You heard what Mr. Jackson said. They don't have hardly any food in the house. Now, if we could get each of the kids to bring some canned goods and other foods from home, maybe we could even raise a little cash, too. Now, we could take a nice box of supplies to the Jacksons.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, I guess if you can tell your folks, I can tell mine.
All right, see you tomorrow. We'll ask Mr. Rogers if we can talk to him during morning recess.
Hi, son. You're right on the dot. 9 sharp. You better hit the shower now and get to bed. That alarm rings awfully early in the morning, you know.
Okay, Dad, but first I've got to talk to you and Mom.
What? Oh, all right, son. Go ahead.
Come sit here on the couch beside me, dear.
I really don't know how to start this. Guess there's no easy way.
Well, why don't you start at the beginning? That's usually the best way.
Yeah, well, today at school, Mr. Rogers told us that at our Halloween party Friday, we'd have a pumpkin carving contest. You know, with judges and prizes, the whole bit. So on the way home from school, Scott said that it would be fun to get a free pumpkin and not have to use our own money for the pumpkins. He wanted me to meet him and Larry down by the Jacksons' place tonight to steal some nice pumpkins. Suppose that's why I wasn't very hungry tonight. You know, Scott and Larry's folks let them come and go just about as they please. But I know you and Mom really care about what I do. Guess that's why I felt so miserable when I got out to the Jacksons' place. Anyway, their house was all dark. When we got close, we saw that Mr. Jackson was sitting on the porch. At first we thought he was talking to someone, but then we discovered he was praying. Oh, Mom, they're almost out of food and money, and Mrs. Jackson's been sick for a long time.
Why, that's awful.
I didn't know they were having trouble.
Well, of course we didn't take any pumpkins, but we just can't let it stop there.
Of course not, son.
Tomorrow we're going to ask Mr. Rogers if we can have the kids bring food from home and take a nice box full of groceries to the Jacksons.
Pete, it would have been a mistake to take the pumpkins, whether Mr. Jackson was rich or poor. Anyway, you made the right decision, and I'm glad that you weren't afraid to tell Mom and me about it tonight. And I'm proud that you want to help the Jacksons, and Mom and I will do all we can to help you.
So we're awfully ashamed, Mr. Rogers. Ashamed that we even thought of stealing those pumpkins.
I see. Well, fellows, I'm rather proud of you.
You are? Why?
Well, you see, we can't live in this world without being tempted. It's what we say to temptation that counts. You boys said no. That's something to be proud of. What's more, you boys had the courage to tell your parents and me about it because you want to do something for the Jacksons. I'm very proud of you, as your parents must be. I'm glad I have boys like you in my class. We'll talk to the other boys and girls right after recess. I'm sure they'll all be enthusiastic about your plan.
The next morning, the large cardboard box that Mr. Rogers had placed in the corner was soon filled to overflowing with cans of corn, soup, applesauce, peaches, bags of dried beans, noodles, boxes of cereal, and on and on. That night, Pete, Scott, Larry, and Mrs. Rogers delivered the supplies to the much-surprised Jacksons. But the story doesn't end there. For the grown-ups in town began to hear the story of the boys who went to steal pumpkins and ended up doing a good deed instead. And do you know, they wanted to get in on the act, too. The next afternoon at the ladies' club.
All right, ladies. It's time we begin our meeting. I've spoken to several of you on the phone this morning, and I'm sure most of you have heard what the young people in Mr. Rogers' class have done for the Jacksons. You know, we are just a small town, and I think it's a sad thing if we don't take care of our own. I think our children have put us all to shame. Now, it's time we do our share. I'm sure that with Mrs. Jackson's having been ill so long that there's a lot of housework that needs doing. Helen, would you choose a committee of 5 to help you with the cleaning? Beth, why don't you pick 3 of the girls to help with the laundry? And Sarah, would you...
And at a construction site in town...
Hey, Charlie, did you hear what the kids did for the Jacksons? Yeah, isn't that great? Nice to know we got kids like that in our town.
Yeah, sure is. Say, I noticed that the back porch steps are in pretty bad shape. Really need replacing. What do you say we go out there tonight after work and see what we can do?
Hey, good idea.
And on it went. Everyone wanted to help. Someone donated a winter's supply of fuel. A nurse stopped in once a day to care for Mrs. Jackson. A teen club from the community church went over and helped Mr. Jackson harvest his pumpkins. Well, most of the pumpkins, that is. The next Friday morning...
Hey, why is the classroom door shut? Can't we get in the room? Here comes Mr. Rogers now.
All right, when you're all lined up and quiet, I'll open the door.
Hey, look. What is it? Wow. Pumpkins, big ones.
Yes, it's a pumpkin for each member of our class. A gift from the Jacksons.
Jacksons? The Jacksons? Oh, that's pumpkin? Oh, that's not bad. We need
Chicken Charlie.
All right, then. Are we all agreed that our club campout will be held at Memorial Park and that the cost will be $10 per member for 2 weeks, including food and transportation?
Yeah, that's okay with me.
Now, someone will have to see to it that Pumpkin gets the word about our decision. He saw me this afternoon and said he couldn't be here tonight because he had to help his mother take some things over to his aunt's place.
Well, I can tell him.
Okay, Rusty, that'll be your responsibility. Now, are there any other matters that we should consider before we adjourn? Yes, Leo?
I think we should make it a rule that everybody that goes on this campout has to earn his $10 himself.
And just where do you think we'd get the money if we didn't earn it?
Well, I was thinking mainly about Punkin. He never has to work, since his mother always gives him all the money he wants. It makes me disgusted to see him get everything handed to him when the rest of us have to earn it.
Yeah, right.
And besides, when we get out to Memorial Park and start roughing it, it's going to have to be every man for himself. We don't want any mama's boy chicken along that the rest of us have to do all the work for.
Who's chicken?
Oh, no, he is.
Hey, listen, what are you calling him, chicken?
While the members of the boys' club are arguing among themselves, let's take a quick look at the cause of their argument. Punkin. Of course, Punkin wasn't his real name, but because of his fiery red hair and his large round face, everyone has called him Punkin for as long as he could remember. And it wasn't that the other boys didn't like him, for he was always fun to be with and had a good sense of humor. But in his absence, it was finally decided that each member must earn the $10 himself, and it was left to Rusty to tell Punkin of their decision.
Hey, Rusty, wait up!
Hi, Bill. Looks like you got a new water canteen. Getting all set to go camping?
Yeah. Have you, told Punkin about the new rule?
Oh, no, I haven't seen him yet today. And I'm not really looking forward to telling him either.
I know what you mean. He's got a pretty good temper.
Well, it certainly isn't his fault that his dad and uncle were killed in that accident last summer and left him and his mother with all that money.
Yeah. We'd probably take money if it was handed to us on a platter.
Besides, we can be mighty thankful we still have our dads, even if they aren't rich.
Yeah. Hey, look over there. Speak about the Punkin, there he is.
Where?
Come out of Old Man Winter's grocery store.
Oh, well, I guess now's about as good a time as any to break the news to him.
Well, good luck. I gotta run. See you later.
Big help he is. Leaves me to face him all alone. Hey, Punkin! That's quite a load of groceries you got there.
Oh, hi, Rusty. What are you doing downtown?
Looking for you, I guess.
Me?
Yeah, we had our club meeting last night and decided to go to Memorial Park on our camping trip.
Good. I always enjoy going there.
We figure it'll cost about $10 apiece for the food and transportation and other things.
Well, that's no problem for me. Mom will be glad to give me the $10.
I know. That's just it.
What's just it?
Well, the club passed a new rule last night. Well, at least for this campout.
Oh? What kind of rule?
Well, everyone has to earn the $10. It can't be given to them.
How come? I mean, what's the difference where you get the money? Just so long as you don't steal it.
Well, I guess they wanted to make sure that everyone who goes is able to take care of themselves.
I think they made that lousy rule just to try and keep me from going along. Well, I'll show them. I'll earn more money than any of the rest of you before that camping trip, or my name isn't Punkin Davies.
Punkin turned quickly and walked away, leaving Rusty standing in the street. His round face became a deep shade of red as his temper flared and his anger mounted. But as he continued walking, his anger gave way to determination.
Those fellas, they don't think I can work. Well, I'll show them. I don't know what I can do. I'll find something, some way to earn some money.
And as he approached the next corner, he couldn't help overhearing two men talking.
Yep, wife and I want to drive out to Colorado for a couple of weeks. Been a long time since we had a vacation, and we aren't getting any younger. What we need's a good, dependable boy to stay at the farm while we're gone. but I just don't know where to find one.
Know what you mean, Rudder. Good, dependable boy, a man for that matter, is pretty hard to come by these days.
Yeah, there's really not so much to do this time of year. Just milk the cows and gather the eggs and look after things in general. I'd pay $2 a day for the right boy.
I'm the right boy, sir.
You what? Who are you, anyway? Hey, do you know him, Josh?
Oh, sure, that's old Dan Davies' boy. You remember Dan, don't you?
Of course I do. He was one of the smartest and squarest men I ever met.
Oh, thank you, sir. I thought he was pretty great, too. I think I could take care of your farm while you're gone.
Yeah, but what are you wanting a job for? You certainly don't need the money.
Well, in a way, no. And in a way, yes. You see, it's like this. I'm a member of the local boys' camping club. And if you... So you see, Mr. Rudder, it's very important to me that I have a chance to earn some money.
Well, I don't know.
Well, you said you needed a boy, didn't you, Mr. Rudder?
Yeah, but...
Well, I really think Pumpkin Davies here would be dependable. Don't know how much he knows about a farm, though.
Can you milk?
Yes, sir, Well, that is, I could.
Could?
Well, yeah. You see, I used to spend my summers on Uncle Walt's farm. My folks thought it was good for me. I helped with the milking and other things. I could make just about as much foam in the bucket of milk as the hired man.
Well, I don't know.
I'm sure I could learn again easily. Say, how soon are you leaving?
We'd like to get off in a couple of days. Why?
I was thinking, would you give me board if I went home with you tonight and helped around so I could, learn the ropes a little before you leave? If I don't suit, you don't have to keep me.
And I guess that sounds fair enough. It's a deal, Pumpkin.
Oh, thanks, Mr. Rudder. You won't be sorry. Oh,
yeah.
There's one more thing, though.
Yeah, what is it?
It's my mother. I don't know how she'll take to this idea. Would it be too much to ask for you and Mr. Joshua to come along with me while I talk to her? She may want to ask you some questions.
Well, son, since you're going to help me out, I guess I can help you a bit. How about you, Joshua?
Oh, sure, I'll go along. Dan Davies helped me out many a time. Least I can do is help out his boy.
Well, let's get going then. Time's a-wasting. Lead the way, Pumpkin.
Pumpkin took the men to his house for a meeting with his mother. As he suspected, she didn't like the idea at first. But when she saw how much it meant to Pumpkin, and after being assured by the two men that everything would be all right, she consented.
Well, I'm sure you'll get along. But I know I'll worry about you all the time you're gone. With your father dead, you're all I have left. And I certainly don't want anything to happen to you.
I know, Mom. I'll be careful. But this is pretty important to me.
I'm sure everything will be all right, Mrs. Davies. There's nothing to worry about.
There's one more thing I'd like to ask all of you. I don't want any of the other fellas to know where I am or what I'm doing. Put them off somehow. Just don't tell them anything. Mr. Rudder lives 9 miles from here and off the main road, so they won't be likely to run across me unless somebody tells them.
As soon as everything was agreed upon, Pumpkin left with Mr. Rudder for his stay at the farm. That evening, Pumpkin milked 5 of the 11 cows, and by the time he was through, his hands ached like an ulcered tooth. But that was only the beginning of the evening chores. Mr. Rudder next showed him the separator used to separate the cream from the milk.
Yeah, might as well take a turn at the separator, Pumpkin. You'll have to do it by yourself after we leave. Now, you just turn the handle same as you'd crank an auto. That's the way. Fine. Now, when you get done, the wife will show you how to wash the separator.
Boy, you got any cars to be cranked? I think that'd be mighty easy compared to this.
Looks like you're done, Pumpkin. Put the cream and milk in the cooler, and then we have to take the separator all apart, piece by piece, to clean it.
Every last piece of it?
That's right. If it isn't cleaned thoroughly, bacteria will grow and contaminate the milk. Wash every piece in hot water, then rinse it and then scald it.
Looks like there's 11 pieces to that separator. I'm beginning to see that there's a lot of work to do on a farm.
Yeah, that's right. Beginning to wish you hadn't bargained for this job?
No, ma'am. I'm going to stick with it no matter what. It's pretty important.
I can see that.
The next morning, things went a little easier for Pumpkin. The milking was not quite so tiring this time. Later on, Mr. Rudder explained about turning the windmill on.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, but some days the wind doesn't blow, and then you'll have to pump the water by hand to fill the tank. And that's not so easy.
Oh, well, I guess I'll just hope for windy weather all the time you're gone. I imagine 11 cows and 10 horses can drink a lot of water.
You'll think so when you have to pump it by hand. Oh, and another thing. You'd better go round the fence in the big pasture every 2 or 3 days and make sure there's no wires down. You'll find staples and a hammer in the shed. And in your spare time, if you have any, you can work digging this cave. I just got started on it.
Punkin was beginning to think that he was going to really be earning his $2 a day. It sounded to him like there was going to be a lot of work to do. Then at the supper table that night...
When are you planning to leave, Mr. Rudder?
Well, we hope to be gone about 4:30 in the morning. Think you're ready to take over?
Well, not really, but I'll do the best I can.
I'm sure you will. I like the way you've taken hold.
Maybe you'll have a chance to catch a chicken thief while we're gone.
A chicken thief?
Yeah, there's been one around here, but nobody's caught him yet. Hasn't bothered us, but if he hears we're gone, he may show up some night.
I think it's pretty low down. Stealing chicken some woman has worked hard to raise.
Well, I guess you're right, but if it's all the same, well, don't you worry about your chickens, Mrs. Rudder. I'll take good care of them.
The Rudders left at 4:30 the next morning, and that day seemed the longest that Punkin had ever put in. It seemed to him that there were 3 times as many things to do as when Mr. Rudder was there with him.
There sure are a lot of eggs here. Every one of these 300 hens must have laid an egg today. And I better get busy with them. Don't pack themselves. Some of these eggs are big, and others are small. My mother pays more for large eggs. I wonder.
Forget it. Mrs. Rudder didn't say anything about grading the eggs. It wouldn't be much extra to grade them. Oh, nonsense. You have a lot of work to do, Punkin. Why take the time to separate the large from the small? Besides, you aren't being paid to do extra work. Do a good job, Punkin. Mrs. Rudder will be pleased.
So what if it takes a little more time? I have 24 hours a day. Besides, the large eggs will probably bring more money at the market. I'll keep a record and see how much more they'll bring by grading them and show Mrs. Rudder when she comes back.
When Punkin took the eggs and cream to the market, the graded eggs brought 2 cents more a dozen, and the additional amount he got added up to approximately $1.50.
I hope Mrs. Rudder's pleased. That will help pay a good share of my wages.
The next day was a beautiful, warm summer day, but there was no wind.
Oh, them critters must be camels. All the water they drink.
In the afternoon, he walked around the pasture and put staples in the fence where needed.
There. Let's see you get out now.
The following morning was the 4th day since the Rudders had left. Punkin awoke at the crack of dawn.
Oh, well, I guess I better get up and get busy. I haven't even touched that root cellar yet. And I'd like to have it all finished when Mr. Rudder gets back as a surprise.
By afternoon, Punkin had made considerable progress on the root cellar. The next day, he took the cream and eggs to the market at the county seat again. While there, the sheriff stopped him.
Hello there. Hey, you the kid staying out the Rudder farm?
Yes, sir, that's me. Is there anything wrong?
No, not especially. Except you'd better be on the lookout for the chicken thief.
Chicken thief? I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, he's been working out in your neighborhood, too.
But what do I do if he comes around?
Well, catch him, naturally. Yeah, well, seriously. If the thief comes around, give me a call. I'll be there quick as I can to help you out.
That night, Punkin tried to stay awake listening for the chicken thief. But before long, he dozed off and forgot all about him. The next 2 days went by uneventfully. And then one night, while Punkin was milking the normally gentle and ladylike cows, Queen Bess lifted a nimble hind foot and kicked the milk bucket, throwing the contents all over Punkin.
Oh, why, of all things, what's wrong with you anyhow, Bess? Rusty Willis, where'd you come from? You're enough to make any self-respecting cow kick. Now you get out of here.
You make me.
All right, I will. Take this.
Hey, no bear throwing things, especially milk stools. Truce. I surrender.
Okay, but where'd you find out where I was?
Over at the county seat.
I suppose you told all the other guys.
Oh, not yet. I haven't told anyone. And I won't if you let me stay all night.
Well, all right. You can stay, but you're gonna have to work.
Fair enough. What should I do first?
There's an egg basket on the back porch. You get it and go gather the eggs and don't miss any. I'll finish milking.
Okay, but where do I look?
In the hen house, of course. And in the hay mow, and the feed boxes, and the straw stack, and in the back of the old car, and most any place else. You just have to look.
After the milking was finished and the eggs gathered, Rusty helped Punkin turn the crank on the separator. And since there was again no wind, they had to pump water for the animals. After supper, they worked on the root cellar. When they finally went to bed, they decided to sleep on the porch because it was cooler. Shortly after midnight, Punkin was awakened by the rattle of a car.
Where am I? Oh, now I remember. We're at Mr. Rudder's farm. And we're sleeping out on the porch because it's so hot. Hey, how's come that car's coming down the lane with its lights turned off? Now, it's stopping out there under those trees. Wow! Maybe that's the chicken thief the sheriff warned me about. Rusty! Rusty! Wake up! Come on, Rusty! Wake up!
Oh, hey, what's the matter?
Oh, shh, be quiet. I think there's a chicken thief here.
Yeah.
That's his car over there under those trees.
Oh, but what are we gonna do?
We're going to catch him, that's what.
Oh, but how? Well, what if he has a gun or something? We might get hurt.
Not if we do it right. Come on, hurry up. Get your clothes on. Listen. Hear the chickens?
Yeah. Hey, now where you going?
To call the sheriff. We'll need his help. Hello, Central. Hello, Central.
Central?
Hello, Central. Get me the sheriff's office, quick.
Just a minute.
Hello? Sheriff Department?
Hello. Hello? This is Punkin Davies. I'm staying out at the Rudder farm. The chicken thief is here, getting Mrs. Rudder's chickens right now.
You positive?
I sure am. I saw him drive up, and the chickens are squawking their heads off.
I'll hurry right out. I hope he's still there by the time I arrive.
I'll keep him somehow.
Well, you be careful now. I'll be there in a few minutes. Goodbye.
Okay, Rusty, we've got work to do. Here, you take this rope, and I'll get Mr. Rudder's rifle. Then we'll go wait for him in the dark shadow of that big maple tree where his car's parked.
The boys waited in the darkness with caps pulled down so the thief couldn't tell how young they were. It seemed like a long time to them, but it was actually only a few minutes later when the thief came back to his car, both hands full of chickens, held head down so they couldn't squawk.
There he comes. Look at that. He must have a dozen chickens in each hand. We'll stop him. Let's go. Drop those chickens and put your hands over your head. No monkey shines now.
Oh, don't shoot! Don't shoot! I got my hands up!
Okay. Now you tie his hands behind his back while I hold this gun on him just in case he tries something foolish. What's your name, anyhow? Oh, all right. You don't have to tell us. You can say that for the sheriff.
Oh, no, don't call the sheriff. I'll talk. My name's Charlie. Please don't call the sheriff. Just let me go. I'll never come back here again. Oh, seems like I lose at everything. I never have any luck.
The name's Charlie, huh? And turning chicken, aren't you? Well, all your talking won't do you any good, Chicken Charlie. I've already called the sheriff, and he's on his way. He should be here any minute now. Hey, that's a pretty good knot you tied there, Rusty.
Oh, I didn't intend for him to get loose. Oh, look, here comes the sheriff now.
Yeah, I see you got him, boys. That's mighty good work. We've been after him for weeks. I'll take care of him now, Punkin. Your job's done. All right, mister, come on, get in the car. You're going back to the office with me. I'll come back later on and get his car. Now, you boys better get back to bed and get some sleep.
Oh, thanks a lot, Sheriff. I'll see you later. And Chicken Charlie, you better not try stealing any more chickens from the Rudder place.
Punkin, you were great. Imagine catching a chicken thief.
'Twasn't nothing, really. And the way you tied his hands, that was something else.
Oh, didn't want to take any chances. But, Punkin, suppose that gun had gone off while you were poking him in the ribs. Would have been awful to kill a man just for stealing chickens.
Look, it's empty. I used the last shell yesterday morning shooting at a chicken hawk.
It was 4 o'clock the next afternoon when Rusty finally pedaled away on his bike. They had worked on the root cellar for most of the day, and it was near completion. As he rode down the lane, Punkin called after him.
If you tell the other fellas where I am, I'll give you a licking like you never had before.
Don't worry about me. You'll be the first to tell them. I hope you make it back in time for our club meeting.
The next couple of days went by quite uneventfully. Every spare minute, Punkin worked on the root cellar. He wanted to get it finished before the Rudders returned. On the third day after capturing Chicken Charlie, the Rudders came home. As they walked around the farm to see how things were...
Punkin, looks like you did a real good job. Couldn't have done better myself. And that root cellar, I'm sure glad to see that it's finished.
I could tell you were anxious to have it done. That's why I worked so hard to get it finished.
Well, you did a real fine job.
Thank you, Mr. Rudder. Mrs. Rudder, here's the money for the eggs. Did you check my figures?
Yes, but according to this, you got nearly $7 more for the eggs than I usually get. How'd that happen?
Oh, that. Well, you see, I graded the eggs before taking them to town, and I got 2 cents more a dozen for the large ones, and I must say nearly all your chickens lay large eggs.
Frank, I think this boy deserves a bonus for his good work. Just think, he finished your cave, caught a chicken thief, and graded my eggs, so they brought more money.
I agree. What do you say we split that extra money he got for the eggs with him? Give him, say, $3.50 plus his wages, and we'll keep the rest. How about it, Punkin? That agreeable?
Oh, agreeable? Oh, Mr. Rudder, that's great.
Punkin stayed that night to help out, arriving home the next day in time to attend the club meeting. They were supposed to be planning their camping trip, but they didn't get much business done. Punkin's story was too interesting. Rusty had been faithful, and it was not until they all got together that the rest of the boys heard about it.
You stayed out there all by yourself and worked for Mr. Rudder while he was gone?
Sure did.
Guess we'll have to admit you really earned your money, then. How much did you get, anyhow?
$33.50. He even gave me a bonus.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
Oh, I wonder who's at the door. Oh, the sheriff. I wonder who's gonna get it now.
Well, Punkin, your mother said I'd find you here.
But I don't understand, Sheriff.
You will. My friend, Mr. Caldwell here, will explain everything.
You're Charles Davies?
That's right. My friends call me Punkin.
Glad to meet you, Punkin. I have a slip of paper for you.
Thanks.
I'll read it.
Pay to the order of Charles Davies the sum of $50.
$50? Wow.
The County Poultry Association offered that reward for catching this thief. He's stolen many hundreds of dollars worth of chickens, so you've earned the $50. That was good work. Mighty good work.
Thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Thank you.
Say, Punkin, you ought to give me a couple of dollars. I helped you a whole day.
You're not getting $2 of mine.
Why not?
Because you're getting $27, that's why.
Wow.
You helped catch the thief, so we'll split the reward, okay? And then you get $2 for the day you helped.
You really mean it? Man, that's great.
Yeah, sure is.
Hey, Punkin, I'm really glad you're going camping with us. I'll have to admit that crazy rule was my idea. I had you pegged as a chicken, but you're not. Guess that shows you can't always judge a person from outward appearance.